Okay, so we've completed the analysis we're going to do. Now we want to make a presentable map so we can show off our analysis to somebody else. The first thing we're going to do is right now we're in ArcMap's data view. We're going to switch to layout view. And the way we do that is there's these two little square buttons down here at the bottom. And I'm just going to click on data view. And it will switch. You'll notice how we now have this layout, this page. And it gave us this layout toolbar up here to work with. So that's how you get to layout view, and this will allow us to lay out a map and add some other elements to it. So let's start working with this a little bit. I don't like these borders around my maps, and so I'm going to select it and then right click, go to properties and frame, and then border, I'm going to select none. Okay, I'm also going to shrink this border to fit more to the watershed. Now there's some important things to notice. So if I want to move the map around inside of this window, I click this pan button by the zoom buttons and I can move my data around. If I want to move this data frame around, or if I want to move the page around, I click this pan button that has the sheet underneath it, and I can move that around. If I use this pan button, it will move the data, and if I use this pan button, it will move the data, and it will not move the sheet. So those are just a couple of things to be aware of when you're working in layout view. Now, I want to zoom in a little more. I want to make this as big as I can on the page. And actually what I think I'm going to do is switch the page so that it's a landscape view. And to do that, on the layout toolbar, if you don't have the layout toolbar, right click in the gray area up here. And you'll see all these possible toolbars you can load up, and you can just click on layout and it will pop up. Bring that back over, select this so I'm safe. I want to switch my layout, and so I click on this change layout button on the layout toolbar. And here I have a blank document. I'm going to use North American page sizes, and I'm going to do letter landscape. So that gives me a regular sheet of paper in landscape view. Say finish. There we go. But now I need to change my frame again. Properties, frame, none. Okay. All right. So now we need to think about the elements we want to have in this map. And I think maybe what I want is, I'm going to just drag this up and dock it better. I think that maybe I want to show my catchment with the streamlines. Maybe show the watershed boundary so we can turn that on. And I'm debating, maybe I'll show the outlet, and maybe I also want to show a zoom in of one of these layers to get a close-up view on the stream. And so I'll show you how that can be done. Okay, so first, this DEM, my gray background, I don't like it very much. I want something that shows the topography a little more, and what I can do for that is I can use a hill shade. So I'm going to go to search. I'm going to find the hill shade tool, the spatial analyst, and my input raster will be the DEM. My output raster, we'll put it in output, so I'm just going to call it HLSD.tiff, save. The defaults are fine, and we'll click OK. Now you can see with this hill shade, I get a little better representation of the topography. It doesn't show the actual elevation values, but it shows me what things will look like as far as the elevation goes. Now I can't see my streams so well, so I'm going to come over, I'm going to edit the symbology on the streams a little bit. I'm going to double click here to open the properties. Being a little bit slow here. Okay. And I'm going to select all these, click the top one, hold shift, click the bottom one, and then right click and properties for selected symbols. I'm just going to change the width to 2 and say OK. OK. And now we can see those streams a little better. Well, maybe I still want to show the elevation values. I can drag this hillshade below the DEM. I don't like this black color ramp, so I'm going to double click here to get the properties, symbology, and let's see what color ramps we have available. These two are usually pretty good for elevation. Let's see if there's anything else. Maybe we'll try this for an elevation color ramp. And I want my hillshade to show through, so I can go to display. I can make this 40% or some percentage of transparent and click OK. Now you can see that elevation shows through. I don't know about that color scheme. I'm going to try the other one, see which one I like better. So this one is another decent elevation color scheme. So we'll say OK. Maybe that's a little better. Maybe I'll adjust this transparency a little more. Maybe I'll make it 60% transparent and see how that looks. Okay. I'm just not sure I like having those colors. I really want to show the streams. So maybe I'll just turn the DEM off, leave the streams. I'll go to my hillshade though, and maybe make that a little more transparent. So let's make this maybe 40% transparent. That knocks the color back a little. And maybe I'll add some imagery. We can always add some imagery to that to see what it looks like. So if we go to add data, we can add a base map. And this sometimes takes a little while to load, I will warn you. I'm just going to select imagery, and I'm going to select add. And this might take a little while to load. So what I'm doing here is just kind of looking at some different elements that might be useful in the map, seeing how I want to display my data, and just showing you some options that are available to place components in your map. Okay, so I'm kind of liking the way that looks. I have some imagery. Yes, I'll enable hardware acceleration. I'm going to have to wait for everything to load again here. It looks like, okay, there we go. And so, yeah, so I kind of like the way that imagery looks. What I might do is see if I can tone that back a little bit. Properties, display. I might make this, 40% transparent. Okay, so that lines things up a little there. I'm going to adjust my hillshade a little bit. And sometimes when you start working with these things, you get a lot of data going on, and it slows your computer down a little. Okay, let's just knock this transparency down to like 20%. Okay, I kind of like that. That gives me a little bit of context. Shows some imagery in the background, and then shows the topography of my watershed. Now, I'm going to take this. I'm going to adjust my data frame a little bit here so that It covers the page a little better, but I want to leave room for a title at the top. So maybe I'll drag it something like this. Wait for it to reload here. And then drag it something like this. Okay, so this gives us a quick rough layout of what we want our map to look like. We'll come back in the next video, we'll fine tune this a little bit, and we will add a legend so that we know what all these symbols mean. We'll also add a title, and I'll show you how you can put a grid on here to line things up nicely.